Hey folks, Rich here at RCINFORMER. Today I have a quick intro video of a new product from Spektrum. This is their latest and greatest radio, the SPEKTRUM DX7, model number SPM7000. This is the latest and greatest upgraded version of the radio. I got this from Falcon Hobby Supply. It's just a really nice full-featured radio that really doesn't break the bank. And if you're an airplane guy like me, and you fly things with flaps, retractable landing gear, you know, 7 channels is really all you need. The beauty of this for me is it has a 250 model memory that's built in without even needing the SD card. But it does have an SD card slot on the bottom, and that's used for really for upgrading the thing as well. There's all kinds of firmware and software upgrades you can get online. Now, just to give you a quick overview of the radio here, guys, as it shows on the back. Nice thing is, this has a 2000 milliamp lithium polymer hard pack inside and a charger to charge it. Now, some of the biggest features on this deal right here: 9 wing types, guys, 6 tail types. Spektrum has probably the nicest flap system menu around. Of course, dual rates and expo, and 8 programmable mixers on this thing, so you can pretty much program almost anything to anything. Helicopter, guys, 7-point throttle pitch and tail curves, 7 different swash plate types. I used to do a lot of helicopter flying, so there's definitely a lot there. A lot in the sailplane menu, although I don't do a whole lot of sailplane flying myself. But some of the key features, again, 250 model memory, programmable voice alerts, which is one of the newest features on this thing. A wireless trainer link, so you can actually hook up a buddy box with somebody without needing a cord. Even though it does have a cord that you can use, it'll do it wirelessly on this thing, which is kind of neat. Telemetry support as well, so you can get all the telemetry you want right on the screen. There are separate modules for different telemetry units, but it's all supported by this radio right on the screen. Quad bearing gimbals. Spektrum has some of the nicest gimbals really in the industry, and of course an SD card reader. All the switches and everything on this are labeled with a number, actually, so you can assign switches and everything to really whatever function you want. Here's a quick look on the side of the box. 250 model memory screen. You can see how that looks. The wireless trainer function, and then programmable voice alerts, which I actually put a couple in already. And I'll show you guys that on the actual physical radio itself. Real nice sticks and quad bearing gimbals. Anyway, guys, enough of the box here. Let me go ahead and get this thing out of the box, and we will take a look at all the components and give you a brief preview of it. All right, as I get the box cover off and slide this thing, I'll put this thing away. You can see right away you get a really nice sticker package to put on your airplane. Instruction manual, which is pretty hefty. It's in several different languages, but there's a lot of info in here to take a look at. You can see right off the back, real nice SPEKTRUM DX7 neck strap. And as we get the cover off here, you can see all the items here that are included. I'll go ahead and pull this thing out of the bag, and you can see how nice of a radio this thing is right off the bat. It has a good feel to it. Really nice look to it. We'll put that aside just for a second and look at the other components in here. Of course, you get an AR8000 receiver, and there's a multitude of receivers you can get for all the Spektrum radios. So, and with a 250 model memory, you can use you know, so many different receivers that they do sell for the thing. Also, you know, of course, some bind plugs they give you, and an Allen wrench. And a charger, which is really nice, and it includes connections, and it includes all the adapters and everything for multiple, you know, different types of outlets that you might use in different countries. Of course, here's the US sort of standard one. It just really slides on and off, but this is great just for charging the radio direct, and the battery is already installed inside. Now let's take a closer look at the actual radio, the transmitter itself. The DX7 transmitter has a really nice feel to it. I have had it out of the box prior to this because I needed to just sort of take a look at it and see what it looks like. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like coming out of the box. But as soon as I put it in my hands, I could tell right away that it has a really nice overall feel to it, and everything is in the right place. Now, I've noticed on radios in the past, especially with the sticks, that they tend to be a little bit slippery. Not with this one. They actually put a slight knurled edge right around this very tip right here, right on the edge here. And what that's really good for is a really positive kind of tactile grip on this thing for those of you that like to use two fingers. And this is pretty much how I fly. Of course, anybody who likes to fly with thumbs won't have any problem because there's plenty of grip up there but for all you who like to actually hold your sticks with two fingers like I do, there's a lot of grip on these sticks now, and other radios I've noticed in the past don't have that. So really great feel to it. It's a real solid radio overall, has a nice, really trim package, lots of rubberized stuff on it. The grips on the side are rubberized, and actually they're all removable. Real nice rubber grips here on the back for holding on to, and the back hand grip is rubberized as well. I put a bind plug back here. This is just my own sort of technique. I just leave a bind plug here just in case I need one. It's always on the radio somewhere. It's just kind of worked out as a handy place for me to put it. But the overall feel of this radio is fantastic. And again, for airplane use anyway, which is primarily what I do, everything's in the right place. Landing gear is right back here on the opposite side of your flight control stick, so you don't have to take your hands off the stick to flip the landing gear up and down. Same thing with what I use for the flap switch, 3-position switch right here. So gear and flaps are really easily accessible without having to take your hand off the stick, basically. And then in addition, because it's a 7-channel radio, I do a lot of EDF jet reviews and so forth that you guys have maybe seen in some of my videos. But they put this knob right here, and it's labeled the R knob, okay, which you can assign to really anything. But I always like to mix my nose wheel steering servo, okay, with, or my nose wheel steering servo on a knob and then slave it over to my rudder. So I can trim my nose wheel independently of my rudder without having to mess with those. As long as you have a separate servo set up, you can do that. But the beauty is it's in the right place. So you can taxi the airplane, you know, take your hand off the stick even if you need to, because you're driving with the rudder and the throttle, and you can easily just trim your nose wheel steering with your right hand. So it's really in almost an ideal place for doing that, and it's going to be real handy for anybody who's you know, an airplane pilot, likes to fly airplanes with this thing, and likes to set up their nose wheel steering like that. But really nice switch positions. You have everything's labeled with a number, which is or a letter, which is the way pretty much everything's going nowadays. So you can switch and assign any switches to wherever you want, or any functions that you want to assign those switches to. Your bind button is right here. That's pretty typical of Spektrum. 3-position switch here, 3-position switch here, 3-position switch here, and of course 3-position switches here, usually normally for rates and so forth. So a lot of 3-position switches on this thing. The antenna is very nice. It's solid. It doesn't bend, flex, or move. You know, some of the older styles or some of the other styles that actually bend, you know, sometimes I break those off. I've done it before. This is kind of nice because it's pretty solid overall. Underneath here, SD card slot, again for increasing the model memories, even though you only have only 250 model memories on this thing. But it's also for software upgrades, which I actually already did one initially yesterday. Actually, on the radio, I pulled it out and downloaded onto the SIM card. You put your SIM card in here, turn your radio on, and then it gives you a software upgrade and changes whatever parameters that Spektrum has done to the radio. But again, real nice feel. Adjustable gimbals, adjustable stick lengths, tensions, and so forth. Lots of adjustability on this radio. Now, flipping it around, there's 2 ports here for, you know, I'm not sure 100%. I think they're for adjusting the sticks, but those rubber covers just peel off, and you use an Allen wrench, I believe, back there. And of course, again, nice grip here in the back, all rubberized again. This is your sort of buddy box port if you don't want to do it wirelessly. And there's also an audio jack in here as well. Now, You can see here where you actually charge this radio. You lift this up and you plug your charger right in, which again is all included. It's real easy access to it. Now to take a quick look at the battery pack, it's a hard case pack, 2000 milliamp, 2-cell. It is removable. You have to sort of turn the radio upside down and just sort of slide it out. You can charge it independently or right here in the radio, but it's just a really nice clean sort of pack that doesn't kind of bobble around in there. But overall, guys, just a very, very nice transmitter. And just a great overall, like I said, feel for when you go out there flying. It just has a nice grip, nice firm grip to it. Anyway, let's take a look inside the menus a little bit and show you what's in there. Now we're just going to take a quick look inside of the menus on this airplane, just show you a few of the features that it has now. You can see it just pretty much comes on. You see I've already been in here. I'm going to be using this on the Ventique 60E. From Falcon Hobby Supply, and also a lot of the Taft jets, and of course a lot of other models and so forth. But you can see right off the bat, it has lots of menus and things to go into. I've used a lot of these on some of the other Spektrum radios, but it has a very nice jog controller, but the difference is they rubberize this jog controller. It doesn't feel like it slides around anymore on your finger. It's nice and positive. But they changed the menus a little bit, but everything's basically the same. Servo setup, you go to travel, you can adjust travel, sub-trim, reverse, speed, balance, I don't even know what that is, honestly, and so forth. So you can get really into so many different parameters inside here. Dual rate and expo, of course, everything's plotted on a chart. They actually now have a little line right there instead of a whole big line, but essentially it's the same thing. You can see that line moving up and down the graph, so you can plot your curves and adjust your dual rate and your expo. Back button gets you back. Throttle cut, throttle curve. Lots of open mixers, guys. That's a nice thing. 8 open mixers, so you can mix almost anything to anything. Range test. Let me go back this way here a little bit. Custom voice setup. You can go in there and adjust and add all kinds of things, and since I use different radios, sometimes I do get the switches confused. Having a voice in there lets you know what you just flipped. So you can see here I put up a gear up and a gear down, flaps up, takeoff flaps, landing flaps, and some rates. So just to give you a demo of that, you can see right here on my gear switch,
gear up.
It tells you that the landing gear's up. You can adjust that volume. I put the gear down.
Gear down.
You can see it tells you the landing gear down. Watch the flaps. Now some radios, like I said, I have the flap switch over here and I have actually the gear here, so it can get kind of confusing. But again, the beauty is that you can set these up. If you don't like the voices, you can actually just delete them, just turn them off. But again, these are some I added just to kind of show you. Here was a rate switch that I added. I'll do it again here.
High rate.
So you can see you can adjust your rate switches so you know where your high and your low are set. It's a good way to know the switch you're switching when you're flying the airplane, so you don't have to take your hands, you don't have to take your eyes off the airplane. System setup, monitor, and so forth. Anyway, guys, lots of menus. I'll probably do a further review of this radio later on as I get used to using it and I get more comfortable with everything. But overall, guys, this is just one spectacular radio that doesn't break the bank. Lots of model memories, voice, telemetry. 7 channels, so you can do almost anything you want to do really with it with most airplanes. Just an outstanding offering here, guys, from Spektrum. Again, the DX7. Again, this is SPM 7000. That's the newest model number on this thing. Check this thing out also at Falcon Hobby Supply. That's where I got mine from. Real nice unit, guys. Again, be looking for the review on the Ventique 60E. And more Taft jets are coming. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. Thanks for watching RC Informer, and as always, we'll see you next time.